Welcome my friends to the second part. Someone just voted 1 star. So you right there, whoever you are, you did the right job. Tell me in the comments what is it that you do not like about this series and I will improve it. So in the first part we made this basic shape of our house. In this part we will be doing some decorations. It's called I guess timber framing. It is called timber framing. Yes, we are going to be doing that in this part. So if you are familiar with medieval houses, many of them have bars of wood around them. Like they have a bar going here, here, etc. Let's make these old wooden bars. This part is not very hard, but it's certainly more fun than the first one, where I just wasted time on explaining how to move around. Press Shift A and in Mesh, look for the simple object which most resembles a wooden bar, which is most certainly a cube. Scale it down and move it into place. This bar will be on the side of this house. Scale it down and move it around until you're happy with it. Its scale. Just kinda move it around and prevent any clipping. Just kinda move it around and prevent any clipping. Control A and apply the scale, press tab and go to edit mode. Select this back face and press G and Y and move it all the way here. Nice job! Now I want one vertical bar right here, so select this bar, Shift D to duplicate it, right click to clear its movement, press R to rotate it and then X to rotate it on the X axis. I want it to be exactly vertical. To do that, just type in 90 and Blender will rotate it 90 degrees at the X axis. Now move it around until you are happy with it. One thing, just prevent clipping between two meshes. If you prevent clipping, it will look more realistic in renders because those little spaces will cast shadows. This is a mistake that most beginners make. They just randomly make meshes to be intersecting with each other. I will duplicate this one and move it all the way up here. Now as you can see that the cube is clearly intersecting and clipping with the other cube. So to fix it we have to cut this cube into two parts on the spot where it's intersecting. So we will be dividing this cube into two parts. Go to edit mode. Now to cut this cube we need two cuts. One on the top and one on the bottom of the spot where they are intersecting with each other. To add a cut to mesh, so you simply press Ctrl R and choose where and how many cuts you want. In this case I want one. Left click and move it up right here. Now if I hold down Alt and then click on this edge, it will automatically select all the connected edges on the same line or axis. Then if I press G twice, then I can move this cut just like I was able to move it when I first added it. So move it down. Do the same with the bottom cut and move it upwards. If I hide this guy by pressing H, now we will remove the part in between these two cuts. To do that, press 3 and go to face select mode. And select any faces that are in between these two cuts. Press X and select faces to delete the faces. Delete this one as well. Now as we deleted the faces, you can see that we are left with open holes in our mesh. We have 4 vertices on each, so we can easily make a face out of them and close it. So select these 4 vertices. Now press F on your keyboard and there we are. Let's do the same with the other vertices. Now we have this part of the mesh and this part of the mesh. Now we need to separate these two. The easier way to select one of these is to select one or more vertices and then press Ctrl L on the keyboard and it will select all the vertices linked to this one. Now to separate it, press P and choose selection to separate the selected vertices. Now if you go back to edit mode, object mode, we have now two different meshes, which is exactly what we want. If I press Alt H, it will reveal the hidden objects. Duplicate this one and move it to this edge of our house. Duplicate this one and move it to the right so that we can see what we are doing. Now let's place this bar at the edge of our roof. Duplicate it first and move it right here. Now as you may have noticed that if we try to rotate it, it's rotating around a certain orange point which is its center of mass. But in this case, for this object, it's completely incorrect since we messed it up in the edit mode. Right click and in the set origin menu, select origins to geometry. Now it's correct. On the y-axis, rotate it until it matches the rotation of the roof. Press G and then Y and move it up to this point. In edit mode, select the face and move it up on its x-axis. Press G and then press Y twice to move it on its y-axis. Now we need one bar in the front of the house. Duplicate this one and right click to clear its movement. Right now you can see that it's rotated. To clear its rotation, just press Alt R. Now rotate it again 90 degrees on Z axis by pressing R, Z and then typing 90. Move it down and place it in this position. Remember to avoid any clipping. Now let's work on these bars and make them look like real wooden bars and not like sharp metal bars. First, delete this one because it's the same as the bottom one, so we will easily duplicate it after working on it. This one as well. Okay, so right now it's too sharp. Add in a subdivision surface modifier. The higher you go with this viewport value, the more geometry the modifier will add. We're good with just 2 levels. As usual, press Ctrl R and add in loop cut. Move it right here and now you can see that it's better. Do the same at this end. Add one loop cut right here to shorten the distance between the top and bottom, and then add one right here. Now add one right here. Now add one right here. But as you can see, it's still jagged. To make it look smoother and better, right click and select Shade Smooth, and now we are done. Okay, now duplicate this one and move it up to this edge of the house. Add in a subsurf modifier, levels 2. I think at this point I should speed it up. Duplicate them both and move them to the back end of the house. Duplicate them and place them in the middle as well. Select these 6 bars, duplicate them and move them to the other side. You know, to play a fair game. Alright? Let's work on this one. Add subsurf. I will only need 2 loop cuts for the job. Press Ctrl R and then move your mouse wheel forward to increase how many cuts you want. In this case I only need 2. So left click and add them. Press G and X to move it down and then do the same with the other loop cut. Alright, now let's work on this one. Add subsurf. Now add loop cuts here and there to make it look like wood. Shift D, duplicate, and move on Y-axis to the bare spot of our house. Now it's time to add the top bar. Duplicate this long guy, move it on X, now move it upwards. Pretty decent, huh? Alright, now to deform it, add 3 loop cuts in the middle. Press Z and move them down a little bit. Anyways, I want you to know that my subscribers like you decide the future of my tutorials. I recently added a poll in which I added several options by which you can rate this tutorial series, so that I can know how to improve this in the future. Someone just voted 1 star, so you right there, whoever you are, you did the right job. Tell me in the comments what is it that you do not like about this series, and I will improve it with all my heart. Love you.